question from Councillor Theobald was possibly a warm-up to this one, but we'll see. Well, in view of the decision at October's Policy and Resource Committee not to pursue Hangleton Bottom as a temporary traveller site, or in fact any other location that was recommended by officers, whilst the current Horsdean site is closed in a month or so, we think, for redevelopment, what plans does Councillor West and his administration and the officers have in place to alleviate the effects of ever-increasing encampments on the usual merry-go-round of sensitive sites with which residents, certainly in my ward, are all too familiar and, quite frankly, justifiably weary and resentful of?
Councillor West.
So if I've got that correct, Councillor, and thank you for your question, is what plans do we have in hand as we don't have a temporary site to cover the period? Yes. Well, we don't. And that is the problem. And that was put to Policy and Resources in September when members of the opposition chose to reject the only proposal before us, which was that Hangleton Bottom was the only identified suitable site. And they chose to reject that, even though travellers have actually used that site before, and also that the police had been involved in regarding that proposal for Hangleton Bottom to be a temporary site, and they regarded that as appropriate. So we'd worked with the police. That was the proposal. And now the position is, of course, is that we would need planning permission for any other site. So at this timescale in all of it, you know, if you magicked up another site, and we did ask you at the time what was your proposal, and you haven't come forward with that, even if you did at this late stage, it would still need planning. And what we have been doing in the background is we have been actually talking to our tenant farmers and to private landowners in the area, but we have not come up with any suitable alternatives. Hangleton Bottom was the alternative, and you chose to reject it. So you will be responsible for further unauthorised encampments on our parks and open spaces over the period of time while we're developing a permanent traveller site.
Thank you. Supplementary, Councillor Summers.
Yes. Councillor Robbins, you said you weren't going to talk tonight. Oh. You said it wasn't viable. Can I tell you something, councillors? I have a photo here of Hangleton Bottom being used as a temporary site by both the Conservative and Labour administrations in 2007. So, apparently, you can come and see it, Jill, if you like.
Councillor Robbins.
Anarchy.
Councillor Mitchell, have you a point of order? Would you like to stand up and tell us?
Hangleton Bottom has never been used as a temporary site for travellers. It has been used as a tolerated site for travellers with specific health and welfare needs for specific periods of time.
Thank you, Councillor Summers.
Well, I think officers specifically said that Hangleton Bottom could be used this time for a specific period of time while Horsdean was being developed. But there we go. My point really is that with all this talking, and it is a very important subject, of course, it was the first thing that the Green administration had to deal with, I think, within half an hour of becoming the administration, and it's been the #1 issue since, certainly in my ward. I just want to say, first of all, and I'll go up at the end so it'll sound like a question and you can respond somehow.
Is it not true might help or something like that?
Yeah, or what do you think about what I'm about to say, Councillor West? And first of all, I just want to say that as far as Labour is concerned, Councillor Morgan has referred to this as not an issue to be used for winning votes because it's a sensitive and difficult issue. Well, it is. So much so that, in fact, the Labour manifesto, a council that works for you, mentions the travellers 0 times. So apparently, if they come into administration, they won't be dealing with travellers at all. The Conservatives have gone out of
Councillor Summers, you're questioning the chair.
I'm questioning the chair.
Yes, not the opposition.
This is leading up to the question. Context
It's a very long lead up,
Yeah, it is.
and could be provocative.
It could be. Well, we'll wait and see. Listen, just got to give context here. The Conservatives have obviously gone out of their way to protect Hangleton Bottom and their own wards, of course. They have challenged the administration countless times in 4 years on this issue, ad nauseum, I have to say. Their manifesto, which is a common-sense counsel for Brighton and Hove, they refer to travellers in one small paragraph, and nothing in that.
Councillor Summers, this is not a part. Look, 9 o'clock is the political broadcast tonight. If we get home in time for that.
Well,
your questions are to the chair of the committee, with respect.
well, it is.
Well, no, it's not.
It is.
How can the chair of the committee answer the political policies of the Conservatives and Labour?
I prefixed it with, what do you think about this? And now I'm asking, what do you think about the Conservatives in their manifesto saying that they'll work with the police to enforce the law at all times? Well, that's really visionary, isn't it? There's absolutely no ambition in that at all to tackle it. And in the words of Councillor Bowden, when he referred to the live music venues, they need to get hold of it by the scruff of the neck and include it properly in their policies. Councillor West, what do you think then about... What do you think about your own manifesto, rejuvenating our city, under equality, where you say you will start to work on the permanent travellers' site and continue to liaise with the friends and families of travellers and with local communities affected by unauthorised encampments?
Councillor Summers, I'll call Councillor West.
I'm not quite sure what my question is, actually.
Councillor West, will
What do you
answer
think
the
about
question.
that, then?
Well, I think the answer is that Councillor Summers has done very well tonight. Thank you very much.